Welcome to the scary world of dinosaurs. No one really knows what dinosaurs look like. These are just images of what they could look like. All we know is that dinosaurs are scary, most of them. And much like dinosaurs, proofs are scary too. Today our title is 4-3, Using Congruent Triangles. And today everyone's starting with the same beginning of their video. We're going to set up our notes. On our normal notes page, you're going to cut it in half next to your glue-in. And today we're going to be doing a jigsaw. You'll be either recording an A proof, B proof, C proof, or D proof. Note that on the back of your notes page, your typical tier 1 page, you're going to cut that page in half, and you'll need to listen to your C and D person to write those proofs there. Our tier 3 will be an activity you'll be doing after you've written all 4 proofs. So I'm going to give you a minute to set up your A proof. This is for proof A. Your given statement is that M is the midpoint of AB and DC. So M is the midpoint of 2 different segments. They'd like us to prove that angle A is congruent to angle B. You're going to need to copy the given and the prove, this diagram, and this plan. And once you're ready, we'll move forward. Go ahead and pause, and when you unpause, we'll go through our plan. All right, let's talk about this. What's given is that M is the midpoint of AB and DC. Automatically, I know if it's the midpoint, then I know that this side is equal to this side. And if M is the midpoint of DC, then this little piece is equal to this little piece. We're getting somewhere. Now, they wouldn't have labeled 1 and 2 there, angles 1 and 2, unless they wanted us to see it. Angle 1 and 2 are vertical angles. That means those angles are congruent. This should be bringing us to a plan. If we want to prove these triangles congruent, then why not use side, angle, side, side, angle, side. So that's triangle AMD. Sorry, that's a D, guys. We're going to show that's congruent to triangle BMC by side, angle, side. Now, once I show that those 2 triangles are congruent, then I can say that all of their corresponding parts are congruent, or that angle A is congruent to angle B because corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Now, I'm going to write the abbreviation here, but you're going to have to write the whole thing in your proof. Yep, corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. That's the abbreviation. So that's our plan. Go ahead and set up your statements and reasons, and we'll move on to the real proof. Now for you guys, here's what I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you all of the statements. So I'm going to tell you that the first statement is that M is the midpoint of AB and DC. That then you're going to show that AM is congruent to BM. AM is congruent to BM. Then that DM is congruent to MC. And last, that angle 1 is congruent to angle 2, just like we talked about in the last slide. Then you're going to say that the 2 triangles are congruent, and we already said that would be by side, angle, side. And last, that angle A is congruent to angle B. I'd like you to pause the video. Go ahead and fill in what you think all the reasons are. You're going to fill in this column. And when you're ready, check it out, and we'll see how you did. All right, let's check this out. Obviously, the first reason is given. We're going to move those T-Rexes out of the way. Now, why is AM congruent to BM? Why is DM congruent to MC? Well, because M was the midpoint. Because we know what the definition of a midpoint is. So you should have copied that down twice. The definition of the midpoint came twice. Why was angle 1 congruent to angle 2? Because vertical angles are congruent. Now, triangle AMD is congruent to triangle BMC by the side angle side postulate. Remember we said side angle side, side angle side. And last, angle A is congruent to angle B, and this is the part you have to write out. You can't use the abbreviation. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Of course, you can abbreviate with the triangles and the congruent, but you'd have to copy that whole thing. All right, go bring that back to your group.